Hello everybody, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button. I junk journal and slow stitch, make things from old things, and today I'm going to do some slow stitching. I've kind of put this up so that I'm a bit closer to you, and we're going to talk about stitch rolls. So a stitch roll, you can make a fabric snippet roll that you will snip bits from, like where's my snippet roll for the paper? I think it might be in the other room because I've been crafting in my bedroom as well. I've kind of spread myself out. It's the bank holiday weekend. And they're just sort of like a strip of paper with pretty bits on, and you rip or you cut bits off. They're helpful for creativity. I find them helpful because they make quick clusters for decorating things. I like a snippet roll. They're also something you can do and chat and not think about things, or zone out and not think about it. There's no decision fatigue in it, I don't think, in a snippet roll. Well, I don't find that. Anyhow, we are going to make a fabric version, and they're not snippet rolls. This is not something that is intended that you snip things off. These are message rolls, and they can either be messages to yourself or they can be given away as a card. In fact, the one we're going to make is going to be something that I'm going to give away. And they are just made from little bits. So this one has got bits that have been, I got lots of fabric sample books. And some of them are prettier than others. They're like kind of pieces of material. So the pieces that I didn't particularly like, I just sort of snipped them up for the component parts. And here we've got that there. You can kind of see I've got a stamped element using my papercraft stamps, stamping with alcohol ink, so like archival ink, something like that, that's a permanent ink. And then I've just written "Be Yourself." And I've sewn it very simply, just using a back stitch. Just wrote on with a felt tip pen. I've not even been that clever about it and used a pen that you can't see, because I can see the edge of the felt tip pen on this one. But it was just a really nice simple one. I've given lots of them away, so I was thinking I've only got this one, because the things that I generally make to give away. And then I've got my vintage button one that you see very often. I put on the... They're just very simple things, and they don't take a lot of work. And I think you see something quite quickly, and they can be quite effective. So we're going to make something today. I've already started it because we would be here forever. And I think watching people stitch, I'm not an ASMR channel? I'm not that. I'm all about, I don't know, giving information, sharing what I'm doing. That's the better phrase, rather than sitting with me and doing it. Although I was awake at 4 o'clock, not yesterday morning, not this morning, and I did think, should I put a live up? And I thought, no. That's why a video didn't happen yesterday. I was busy, and I will tell you what I was doing a little bit later, but I just didn't have any word capacity, talking capacity. I was just bomb happy tired by the time we got round to when I generally make a video, which is sort of late afternoon, early evening. Yeah, I was very tired. I decided just have an evening with my husband, which is okay. So we've got our, no, I'll tell you what, let's put them there because they're pretty. And it says the Vintage Button and Be Yourself, which I think everybody should. Unless you're really evil, then don't be yourself. Be a nice person. So I've got some red buttons, red button jar from my haberdashery shelves on the landing. And I've got some of my cotton reels that I had from when I got out of my cabinet that we made the little needle books. So I remembered I had a red and I had some different greens. And I've also went into my quick fabric stash, and these were the top ends. So some of these sample books had been cut off sort of like 2/3 of the way up the sample page, because they're actually sort of stapled or attached to the book, you know, like, or bound to the sample book, and people didn't obviously want to take the entire book apart, so they were just sort of like cutting. It would be like a small fat quarter size piece of material off, and you would have like the strip ends that would be about that wide. And so I dismantled the books completely. When I got these 8 books home, I used to live in a really small house in Cambridge, and I was like, I can't just have these hanging around my house. So I took them all apart, and they were in an ottoman, and they actually still live in that ottoman, and they've gone down. I think I've probably got a quarter of what I had left. So they lived in the ottoman and out of the way, because I could fold them up or lay them flat, and they would all stack together. So these are like just the top ends, and I think that they're nice sort of pastel-y, Christmassy colours, dare I say the Christmassy word. But if you're going to make things for Christmas, really should be starting earlier than the year than this, but I think you can make a few handmade things. So we do, in my family, we do a Secret Santa, and I buy my mum something. So I don't know who I'm going to get in my Secret Santa. And we managed to get some nice bits actually last year from the local town centre. But I've got a Secret Santa and my mum. So I know I'll have to buy things for the Secret Santa. It depends who I get, actually. If I get somebody a bit artsy, they might get something made as well. But if my mum, I always make her something. I'll make her something, and then I'll send a hamper or a bunch of flowers. So she got a junk journal last year. This year, she's going to get a roll, and this is the beginnings of it. So it's about to say Merry Christmas, and I don't know if I'm going to put Mum in. I might do, I might not. I might just put Merry Christmas, and then it'll be like a Christmas card, because I'm going to stick something on the back, which will probably be paper with a message on the back like a Christmas card. But the stitching bit we're going to do together today. And all I did was I went over with my pencil. You can't quite see all of it, so I will outline this A little bit more. And I went in and I just wrote out the word Merry Christmas. And then, let's move this out of the way. I'm going to turn it the way I can see it and undo what I did. There we go. And you can see the back. I've not used a fancy stitch. I've used something called a back stitch, which is a really strong stitch, but it's also it looks like a continuous line quite effortlessly. And a back stitch is like a machine stitch. It's the closest thing you're going to get if you do stuff by hand to like an ordinary machine stitch. So we're going to do our back stitch now. Let's see, where do I want to come out? I want to start actually at the letter, so I'm just going to pick some of the back of this. This is linen, and it's actual real linen. One of the things about getting the sample books from, it depends where you go for them, but most fabrics that are in these sample books, they're mostly natural materials, and they would just get put in the landfill. It's worth going to your local interior design shop and see if they have any. I'm wanting to do that pretty soon, because I think I'm getting close to a point where my choices are becoming limited and I want more. But I'm going to come out here, because that's the beginning of my A, and it's going to be really easy. Now you could go and get water soluble pens, all the things, but do you know what? If you use what you have, you're never going to be in want. That's one of my little phrases. Use what you have and you're never going to be in want. So I've got a pencil, and that's what I'm using. And now I don't want a water soluble pen, nor do I need a water soluble pen. So yeah, so you can just sort of come back on yourself. So there you go, the threads come out, you come back on yourself. I've got a bit of a gap there. It doesn't matter if you have some gaps, this is handmade, but put it back in the hole near or where you came out, put the needle back in and then have it poke out and along the line that you've drawn. Even if it's a curve. When you're going around a curve, you're going to do shorter stitches. When you're going down a long bit, you can use longer stitches. Here we go. I've done this because I would bring it right up to myself if I was doing this myself. I like to slow stitch like this. Sort of sat watching a film, something that I've already seen and I don't need to think about, or listening to a podcast or something like that, so that you've got two things going on at once. So you just keep coming in and out, following the line that you've drawn. There we go. Got the top bit of the A done. Now I should have done, but because I'm talking to you I didn't, but that's alright. I'm going to come out here. I should have, when I got to this point, I should have gone round and then I would have been back up and it would have been a lot more elegant, but I'm really not worried about it because I have all of that thread from that haul I did a couple of weeks back when I was on leave. I got that cabinet that was just full of these like unused, completely unused threads that are probably not strong enough to actually stitch or put in a sewing machine now because they are like quite old. That's probably about 50 years old because they haven't made cotton reels like that for a long time. Just following that line. You want your tension to not be, you want it to be snug but not tight. So you don't want any like loosey bits of thread around, but you don't want to be pulling it tight so that there's actual tension. If you'll notice on the other ones, nothing's pulled, it's all laying flat, and that's because the tension's quite relaxed. You're just actually laying the thread down. And it's just the back stitch. There's nothing complicated. You could do it as a running stitch. I think it would still work as a running stitch, but I think a back stitch is just as easy as a running stitch. Once you work out that you just go back on yourself and you jump a bit forward. It's not going to be my best stitching because I'm not focusing on just stitching, I'm focusing on you guys as well. But it's not going to be terrible. And I figured these are the two more complicated letters probably in this. It's an A and then the S on the end. And it would be good to do that for everybody, just to show how easy it is. Now I'm going from this letter here and I'm going to go to the bottom of the S. The bottom of the S starts here. I know you can't tell. Let's draw it out again. That's a chopstick that I use for poking things. There you go, you should be able to see that. You could, and like, did I do that on the B? No, I didn't. But you could like go over stamps. So you could, if you're not confident in writing, you could get your alphabet stamps and stamp it out in a lighter colour like a yellow or something, and then go over it with your stitching. We'll do that. I think we'll talk about using like papercraft things in slow stitching, because I think and because I've always slow stitched from being a child, and the junk journaling really appealed to me because it was similar to what I did with fabric to what you do with paper. That's what really appealed to me about it, because I've always made little bits and pieces, like the bits and pieces I've shown you before, and some of the bits that like the strawberry pincushions, I've been making them a couple of decades really. Little pincushions, needle books, all the things that are very slow stitchy. it's all very similar, and I like it for that. Okay, we're going to go around a corner, so it means a smaller stitch because it's all very curvy. Remember that tension's not too tight, but it is snug. Smaller stitches while we're going around the corner. You can always work your way back and go over a stitch if you think that, oh, that's a bit too gappy. You can go back, you know, if there's a gap there. If you really don't like it, you could work your way back and you could go over it. I don't know if I will, because I think it's all part of its charm. So you could make this from scraps, really. You could take a pair of jeans apart. That's what these are. They're just jeans. Go through your clothes and see if there's anything you're happy to sacrifice. That goes for junk journaling as well, you know, like for edges on pages, like ruffles and stuff, which could be slow stitched. They don't have to be done on a sewing machine. You know, that like I said, that adage of you use what you have and then you'll never want. I think I might want a little bit of extra there. So, there's our wordage. Merry Christmas. Now, do I want to carry it on and say Mum? I don't know if I do. I want it so she can have it on display in her flat. And I think it needs to be just really simple. So I'm going to leave that there because I don't think I have enough space to do Mum and then put the holly that I'm planning to put on. So we'll finish it off. So to finish it off, I'm just going to tie a knot with a stitch like that. Pull it tight, and I'll do it twice just for my own sanity, but that first knot should hold. There we go. And we're going to pause while I talk about the advent calendar. So we're having this giveaway of the advent calendar. Where is it? It's here. And I'm going to fill it with things. Now, I have been working on my big advent calendars that I want to put in my Etsy shop, just because I want them to go in quite quickly. So we've got a base. It's going to be similar things, just I'll squidge the packaging up, I think. So we've got the base, and then this is what I was doing yesterday. I have a bag full of bits and pieces, and so some of the things that you'll get both in the prize one and in the bought one are going to be big. So this is a large journal, and it will be, I think it's going to be here, and I'm going to stick it directly onto these books because you can recover. This is not by any means an old book. Well, it's about 50 years old, but it's not an antique book. So there's big things like that. There's big things like needle books. We have strawberry pincushions. We have a vintage cotton reel that's empty, that's actually got a strip on, so you can do one of these. And in here, but I wouldn't know where, there's some bits and pieces, like these types of bits and pieces that would go in. So there's that, and then there's all of these bits are just bits of ephemera. There might be a little, there's like a little stitched robin that I've done for you. There's some paper, measuring tape, so you can like cut that up and put that in your journals. There's all kinds of things that have been made. There's a blooming envelope. What's this one? I can't remember what this one is. There's just loads of stuff. Oh, there's some covered paper clips as well. Some covered paper clips. There's all kinds of things. So as you can see, it's quite a lot of stuff, and it'll all be mounted onto the book. And that'll go for the small one as well. Yeah, I'm quite excited. So I'm just thinking of a fair price for this, because a lot of work has been put into it. And it's things from my stash, so there's work in me finding these things originally and processing the books and stuff. There is nothing mass made in this advent calendar. Everything is handmade. So that will be somewhere, and I will be doing the similar things, but I just will try to condense the packaging and have that in here. So this is your smaller journal that's already been put in, and it'll be made, and I'm going to be making a book plate for it for the front, and that'll be a video, because I think that that'll be useful like as a book topper, book cover topper. I think that's probably what you call it. Anyway, let's get back to what we were doing before. So now I've got my words, and it's kind of, I've tried to do it in a very naive style. That's why we've got this really long I, but I put a little star on the top. But yeah, do it in a really naive style, because that is what it is really. It's not, you know, it's not anything else. So what I've also done, and I think I've got 4. Have I got 4 of them? I can't remember. I've got 4, but we might not want 4, but I want to show you what I've done. I need a bigger craft room, guys. I'm very grateful for my little craft room. I had years without one. So I want to put, let's get rid of them. I want to put some holly leaves that I've just cut out of felt, and I just sort of hand cut them. If you draw a holly leaf out, so that you get the flow of it, and then you can either use that as a pattern, or you could just freehand. I mean, I've had lots of jobs where I've had to sort of hand cut stuff out, like working with children, running toddler groups and stuff like that. So I have years of me just being like a human physics machine. So it wasn't a big deal to cut little bits of holly leaves out. So I've got 3, and I'll just show you how I made it, because it's just that back stitch again, not with the tension too tight, Lindsay. So it's in and out, go back, and then out, go back, in. And I've left a bit of a gap, but you could like really not leave any gap, and it would be a continuous stretch. But I kind of wanted it a little bit like a closed running stitch, and this is easier than like fiddling around making a close running stitch really. It is very windy outside. I don't know if you can hear it. I might put a fire on tonight. It's autumn's coming, which I'm not that unhappy about, to be honest. I bought myself a new radiator for in here with my tax money. There's like a super efficient. We do have central heating and everything, but we have a really cold, old, drafty house. So, and this is the only room in the house besides the bathroom that has got 2 external walls. And it does make a difference. The other rooms have only got like 1 external wall because we're in a terrace. But yeah, it does make a huge difference. We need to get that insulation. So I'm just sort of whip stitching it back up because I want it to come to this end, because we're going to sew. I don't know if I'll have enough. Will I have enough? Yeah, I'll have enough. Because I want that to be the blunt end and this is the end together. So let's see. I like things in threes. Just going to bring that back out because I'm going to use this to stitch everything down, and then we're going to go in with some red and the berries. So let's choose our berries because that might help us to choose. So this is vintage buttons. Obviously I am the vintage button. That's really old. That's very old. Has it got back to it? No, it's just got a grommet that could be stuck onto something. And sometimes I divide them up into colour, and then they eventually grow into a pot full of red buttons. I think you probably could buy buttons in a pack of different colours. Some of them stuck together. I want really bright coloured. That's what I want, like that kind of colour. I want 3. They might be too big. This is where I get decision fatigue, because I sort of like, I spend forever looking at stuff going, is that the right thing? Is that the right thing? Oh, I like that one. Right. And I'll lose them because they go everywhere. I've made a really sweet little robin that you'll get in your advent calendar. I will show you because I might use one. I've noticed I've got one here. So I just stamped some brown fabric out of my sample books, and then I've put like a little brown button. So I don't know, I might use that, I might not. You get one of those in your advent calendar. So there's 25 gifts so that you've got something on Christmas Day. Ooh, do we like that? I think I do want just... I quite like looking through things like buttons and stuff though. We used to get tins with old tins with buttons and notions and stuff. Always enjoyed looking through stuff like that as a kid, like a treasure box. This is the bit that takes the longest time. I'm probably overthinking it. Especially as my mum would just think it's lovely. She's in Cornwall at the minute. My sisters were going down to Cornwall for a weekend. They've taken her, and she's got friends everywhere, my mother. And she's, oh, I'm going to go and stay with 2 friends and then I'll come up later on the plane. So, I love her. She's certainly living her life to the best. Right, there we go. Do we think? And then we put some buttons on the top. I think so. I think that's how we're going to go. Right, I haven't brought any pins with me. Because I'm silly like that. We're going to remember. We are going to remember. I don't know what we're going to do for dinner. I think we're going to have a takeaway because it's bank holiday weekend. I think we're going to have it tonight rather than tomorrow night. And then I might do like a roast dinner tomorrow night, and then we can live off that on Tuesday when we're back at work. Okay, so it's a bit rude, isn't it? Although it's much better now, we don't have to commute. We just sort of roll downstairs and commute to wherever we work. I work in the lounge, my husband works in the dining room. Sometimes I work in my bedroom. I've got a desk set up in my bedroom, but that's full of advent calendar stuff at the minute. Yeah. I'm not putting a lot of things on because we're going to sew those. I can always go in after actually as well. I just want to get it on. But we are going to sew the buttons on over the top. And it's not anything that's going to have any pressure. Now you can see here where I've just not picked away at it properly, but I'm going to put some, I'm going to stick some glue, stick some paper at another time that'll have like my Christmas message to my mum. There we go. Another one for luck, just because I'm a bit paranoid. I'm gonna have to thread the needle. Yeah, I am. That's not enough. So this, if I put that one there as well. This cotton, I am more than doubling it up. I'm sort of quadrupling it up. Whoa, she says dropping the cotton reel. I'll pick that up later. And this I might do off camera because I need it close to me because I'm blind. I went and had my eyes tested when we were on holiday, and I wear a +2 prescription on my like reading glasses, and he said my eyes were perfect. And you know, you have the scan and everything that like scans the back of your eyes, and they almost know your prescription through the tests you do with a little assistant before you actually go and see the optician now. It's not like ages ago. But this is how I thread a needle. I make sure I sort of pinch the thread and then bring the needle down back on it. That just seems to work for me. But yeah, there's 4 strands now, and that's what's made that sort of thick thread. I wouldn't trust this in a sewing machine. I wouldn't sew like a garment or anything with it. But the colours are so lovely and they're so vintagey that it's a shame not to use them. And if they've got some integrity, because I have some like vintage cotton reels, why am I doing that many knots, that have no integrity, and you wouldn't be able to use them for anything really, other than they look pretty in a jar. Okay, what did we decide on? I want it that way. Looks a bit more like a berry. Do we like that? Let's do that one first. It is so windy. And you know I sew a button on. I would hope. Literally in and out. There we go. Let's put our next one on. Oh, I can hear the cats coming. He was in actually just before I started, and then I think he went back out because I gave him a treat. He's kind of a fair weather feral, we call him, because like when the weather's nice he's outside all the time, but as soon as it starts to be a little bit inclement he's in again, and he's an inside cat. So he has sort of found himself a comfy corner. Happy with that. See, Lily's laughing at something he's obviously done. She did very well in her exams. She was expected high grades, and she got high grades. So she'll be starting at her college of choice, that obviously I'm not going to name. But she'll be starting there in a few weeks. We said that one, didn't we? Or do we want to try the little one? The little one? A bit better? I don't think so. I think that. Oh, which way? Which way? I think like that. I think that's how it's going to be. Gonna put it underneath? No, we're not. We're going to just go in with it. We're just going to go with it, she said. It's hard doing things when you're sort of not at an angle that you would do it at. It's not quite doing things upside down, but it's definitely not how you would normally craft when you're kind of doing it, so that making sure that can see me. And I've run craft workshops before, but then I think I've said this before, that I don't tend to actually do it. I tend to sort of tell other people how to do it and give them guidance, so I'm not actually sat there doing anything, not crafting, or I might do a little bit to show people and then show people on their actual piece. I have thought about like other, because I thought about doing slow stitching on a Sunday, and I thought, what other things can we do? But they're a bit more longer, they're a bit more projecty, because I don't want to make 3 of these things. So we could do some clothes, I was thinking. Making like a skirt, that's one of the workshops I used to run. And it's a long workshop, you'd be sat with me for like hours and you'd be taking it home. But that sort of slow stitch, make your own skirt out of a pair of jeans, sort of like upcycle. I don't know. I guess I could make them and put them on the Etsy shop, I don't know, but they would be hundreds the amount of time it would take. Well, I'll think on it, but it is definitely nice to do that. I've just embarked on going on the weight loss injections. It's a bit of a vulnerable thing to say that, but there you go. Because I'm going to be 50 in December, and I want to be healthy in my old age. And I've worked in senior care and sort of know what happens if you don't look after yourself. Do we like that there? Is that too much there? What about there? What about the beginning? I was going to do holly. Let's see. So, where's my little crate? I found out of my vintage cottons in my haberdashery department. So, I think this had black on it. Dorcas thread. Clark & Co. JP or IP Clark & Co. Leicester. And it's 60. I don't know if that's the weight. And it's machine thread cord. Oh yeah, it had a thick black cord on it, 2 ounce. I think it had a thick black cord on it. I can't remember. My mum will know actually. So she'll like it, because she used to be a machinist. So this is going to be, and I like the fact that it was sort of green and red, but I think that should be the top. So I don't know, we could I want her to see that. I don't want to stick anything on there. So you attach it to your cotton reel, and it's up to you how you attach it. Now I'm not actually going to attach this because I need to put the paper on with the sentiment at the back, but that I basically would be attaching it like that. So I'm just wondering about whether I put the bird on it or not. Do I put the bird on? Oh, that will look quite nice. And then I thought she could sort of stand it. She'll have to lean that on something, but she would be able to stand it somewhere, like in front of a TV or something like that. And it could be part of her Christmas decorations. So I don't know whether I put him there. Put him there. I might change his button actually. If I change his button, I think I'll like him there. But then those buttons are really similar. Let's have a look. I'll probably do all this and then not end up putting them on. How does that look? I think it should be. What do we think, guys? I quite like the idea of a robin there. What about a more orangey one? No, that's too big. Oh, look at that button. That needs a good clean there, but that's unusual. I think there needs to be a little bit of a gap, yeah, and then a bigger button. Oh, no, perhaps not a bigger button. Okay, I'm going to snip this button off here. So you'll be able to see actually how it's made. It's got two different brown bits, and this is like a moleskin, the top layer. Now, can I get this button off here? Seam rippers back in the... Oh, I think, yep. Feel that go. Okay, where was that needle? I'm going to put it so he's a bit bigger. Oh yeah, do that, but need the... Yeah, like that. Do I? Start again. I'm talking to myself. I wonder how long this video is. I don't really want it to be that long. Here we go. What button did I decide on? Old lady eye to see. So yeah, because of that, actually I quite like that big button. I don't think it was that, but actually no, I quite like that. If we make that a little bit bigger, a bit more dynamic. Make sure we keep the beak. be a little bit like that, because then it looks like it's open. Yeah, so I've got on these weight loss Dewberry Watsits. So I will need some new clothes eventually. But whilst I'm going down in sizes, I probably will just make some bits and pieces and amend, mend my clothes. Because, like, I don't want to add to the expense of a couple of £100, basically. Right, we've done that. Now let's put this on here. I don't want it like that. Do we want it like that? Yes, we do. We want it like that. So, yeah. Go. Yes, I like that. That's very nice. So that's again another example of using your stamps. And not very expensive stamps either. I think the bee that I showed you, that was a wood mounting stamp, so I did think that cost a little bit, but I've got bees off the front of magazines now. And I think this one was like a Hobbycraft one, I seem to remember. Where did that other needle go? Put that other needle there for now. Put it in that crate. So yeah, we could do some clothing. I bet I probably would be able to do something. I have to work out camera handles. So that's the basis of it. I might go in and do some extra little bits when I've put the paper on. Like I might do some green down the edges. But that is basically it. So you can see you can make like the smaller writing or bigger writing, however you want. You can make them out of denim, you can make them any material, and even this has got, like, I've pieced the denim up to make it longer and just done some like seed stitches to sort of piece it. It's actually really strong, that you wouldn't be able to. This is 3 pieces of material to make this long piece. This is scraps of scraps to make that. And this is on a plastic cotton reel. It's still a vintage cotton reel. This is from probably the 70s. So it's still as old as me. But there you go. Little slow stitch scrolls. I think that's what they're called. Is that what they're called? I don't know. I know they're very helpful, very useful for little messages. Little messages to yourself. This one literally was to myself. It was a positive affirmation thing that really worked. That, like, you know, as I enter that latter half of my life, it's more important to be myself than ever. Merry Christmas. And then, of course, you can put your business name on. or your whatever name. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. The sun's come out. I'm going to go and spend some time with my family. And I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, it's a bank holiday, so I'm going to do my flip through on Tuesday. And I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow. We might start making a journal. Yeah, we might do that. I've got ideas back to Junk Journal July to remake that journal. The actual making up of it. So that's probably what we're going to do. Okay, lovelies. Thank you. If you want to enter to win that advent calendar, you need to like, subscribe, comment on every video. Every video that you comment on is an entry, and the deadline, I will set it, but it will be sort of early, like the first week in November at some point, or it might be the 1st of November. That's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, get those entries in. There's already lots of people with lots of entries. I've read a comment, somebody wants something that's pop-up, and I will reply back to it that like my day 3 of Junk Journal July was a bit pop-up, but I want to remake my Harry Potter journal in October, and that seems to be the place for a pop-up, so I'll have to research that. But yeah, look forward to that. All right then, lovelies, I will talk to you tomorrow for junk journaling. Thank you very much. Bye bye.